One Powerboat Championship.
The friendly city of Port Elizabeth played host to round 7 of the South African Powerboat Championship, which also formed part of the National Ports Authority's Port Festival. With ideal weather conditions and lots of spectators, the PE harbour was packed with people who came to enjoy everything from Formula One racing to some youth choirs that performed on the music stage. The efforts to make ports into a friendlier environment served very well to educate and entertain at the same time.
It's been very, very beneficial in terms of bringing the communities in and around these places to come and see the ports, also to be able to embrace some of the things that the ports do in and around these places, because we believe that it is important that we become a responsible and responsive citizen in the areas where we operate in. We have established a training and development fund, for instance, for some of the youngsters that participate in some of the sports, and so that we can begin to see going forward new Peter Lindenbergs emerging from disadvantaged communities and propelling them into greater heights.
With all the special preparations that organisers and competitors have to do to ensure the success of an event like this, there were plenty of last-minute tasks that needed attention. The pit areas were frantic with crews doing their final checks and fine-tuning before the serious racing starts. With the catamarans that are capable of speeds over 220 kilometers per hour, these boats are designed to only turn left. That means on the course they race anti-clockwise. Any right turns puts a lot of strain on both pilot and driver. Before the first heat got underway, the time trials were held to determine the starting grid. All boats got the chance to try and secure that all-important pole position. Andre van Diemen, however, had the bad luck of losing the cowling of his boat. Without this, his boat will have serious aerodynamic problems. Ian Mather also ran into some misfortune when the rough conditions caused him to lose one of the pickles of his boat. Fortunately, this could be fixed in time for the first heat. Peter Lindenberg was firing on all cylinders and clinched pole position with the fastest lap time of 37.78 seconds. Against the beautiful backdrop of the protected harbour, there was not only racing ahead but also lots of other sporting activities.
All these festivals are not only fun festivals, but it's really festivals of opportunity, development festivals. We've arranged development clinics in the 3 national sports that we sponsor, the powerboating, basketball and boxing. This year we also had a first marathon, and we've also arranged development clinics for the marathon, and that was presented by the 2001 Comrades winner, Andrew Calais.
To start off the water sport activities, there was some thrilling inflatable boat racing that proved every bit as exciting and hazardous as what the spectators hoped for. With only some foot straps on the floor of the boat to keep you inside and a rope or a tiller arm to hold on to, the force turning round the buoys sometimes became just too severe for anyone to stay upright or inside. The first heat got underway in fairly choppy conditions as the boats were forming up in formation for a rolling start. Number 2 boat Peter Lindenberg from Team National Ports Authority makes the most of his pole position he got from putting up the fastest time in the time trials and gets the whole shot immediately, opening up a lead over the rest of the field. Chasing hard after him was current South African champion and teammate Ian Mather. In third position, number 6 George Verscheer in the Team Web Alto IBM Courier's boat. He's followed by Tim Featherstone-Hoare in his number 3 Team Mercus Cura's boat in 4th place. Tim just flew in shortly before the race from Dubai, where he was also racing powerboats. In the yellow number 23 boat from Team Hire Anything Reclam, Russell Chart got off to a great start to lead the lights class ahead of Skulk van Tonder in boat 22. Behind the leading 2 National Ports Authorities boats, a big battle for third place was on between Tim Featherstone-Hoare and George Verscheer. Skull Van Tonder, who performed very consistently during the previous leg in Cape Town, was lying in 7th position and had the red US Robotics boat of Andre van Diemen chasing hard after him. In boat number 5, Marius Krause had the tough challenge adapting to a new boat, racing it for the first time since damaging his previous boat in Cape Town. Oh, but it looks like Paul Reeby has a problem. He slows right down and it seems like he bails out of the race. In lap 9, Marius Krause seems to be finding his feet in his new boat. He made up 2 positions, overtaking Skull Van Tonder and Andre van Diemen. Oh, but oh, look at the spray that comes from his boat. He's slowing down. It looks as if his boat has hit something floating in the water. Marius is really going through a bad patch of misfortune. But to the sharp end of the race, here it's a totally different scenario, as there seems to be nothing that can stop the ever-consistent race leader Peter Lindenberg, who has now overlapped most of the field. He chases after George Fischer, who is still in 3rd position, and all Peter needs to do now is to stay out of trouble and finish the race. Race control indicates with the white flag that it's the last lap for Lindenberg, and only 4 left-hand turns and 1 right lies between him and victory after another magnificent performance by the most experienced driver in the field. With Andre van Diemen still a lap behind, Peter Lindenberg makes it 1 down, 2 to go, winning the first heat with the greatest of ease. Russell Chard had a great race too and clinched top honours in the lights class ahead of Skull Van Tonder and current points leader in the lights Andre van Diemen. Unfortunately, Paul Reeby scored no points after he stopped due to an injury. There were lots of different vessels on the water, and the Formula 3 boats also had their chance to show their speed and skill. But when it comes to skill, it was perhaps most vivid in the development races, where drivers had to concentrate to get those water mouse monohull boats around the buoys without being flung out of the boat. As an all-important mission of Powerboat South Africa to develop and grow the sport, these are the future champions, and a lot of promise they definitely showed.
Boat number 18 taking the checkered flag.
Heat 2, and once again the race gets under starting orders with the green flag up, signalling that the field have to get into grid formation for their rolling start. Following his performance in Heat 1, Peter Lindenberg once again has pole position. As the flag drops, he piles on the revs to get the whole shot again. But this time it's boat number 3, Tim Featherstone-Hoare, on his outside, and teammate Ian Mather in 3rd position, with Skull Van Tonder and Russell Chard following closely behind them. Round the inside buoy, Lindenberg leads the field in front of the Team Mercus boat of Featherstone-Hoare, with SA champ number 1 Ian Mather in 3rd. Russell Chard, who had a magnificent start, was lying in 4th place, leading the other Lights boats of Skull Van Tonder in his Core Networks number 22 boat, and Lights championship leader Andre van Diemen. But what has happened to George Fischer? A very bad start for him, as he ends up in the back of the field, lying 2nd last. With everything at the front of the race happening at lightning pace, Tim Featherstone-Hoare tries to get out of the spray from Lindenberg to find a better race line. His boat violently dives to the outside in a spectacular maneuver. With the improved water conditions, Peter Lindenberg has only one thing on his mind: to open up a gap over his nearest rivals, who are in the hunt behind him. He would definitely want to steer away from any situation that can possibly get him involved in an accident now. He has such a big championship points lead that it's simply not worth the risk. Ian Mather in the number 1 National Ports Authority boat also knows that it's better to stay a safe distance behind in 3rd place, watching the ensuing battle in front of him between Lindenberg and Featherstone-Hoare, waiting to capitalize on any mistakes from either of the two.
Well, we'll see who tops that race after the break. Plus, we'll have Heat 3. Don't go away.
At the back of the field, newcomer Craig Bell from Bloemfontein in his number 12 boat takes things easy. A wise decision to rather finish the race than to risk getting into trouble. In 5th position, the yellow boat of Russell Chard was now locked in his own battle, with Skull Van Tonder in 4th position for the lead in the lights class, followed shortly by number 10, another National Ports Authority boat, Lucky Hadebe, lying 6th. George Fischer from Team WAP Alto IBM Courier still lying 7th. He was definitely not having a great race at all after his bad start. Racing past the control tower, the lights race was heating up, with number 12 Craig Bell having to exercise caution. Russell Chard closes in his wake, and number 10 Lucky Hadebe chasing hard just behind Chard. Race leader Peter Lindenberg was now flying his Seabolt over the water, trimming it for maximum performance and using the minimum boat service on the water as he's shaken off his pursuers. Number 22, Skulk van Tonder, here in 4th position overall, is still leading the lights class in this heat, and he's in a strong position for the lights championship, who up until now was dominated by Van Diemen and Reeby. With Craig Bell and Andre Van Diemen part of the scramble round the far buoy, Russell Chard is trying to get through the slower traffic, and he's diced with Van Tonder. But oh look, there seems to be something wrong with Chard's boat as he's slowing down. This gives number 10, Lucky Hadebe, the chance to move up into 5th position behind Van Tonder. George Verschier, who is still not having a good day, is now a lap down. He has to make way for the leading boats, and here boat number 1, Ian Mather, who's in 3rd position, goes past him on the outside. With Russell Chard still battling to get his boat going, Lindenberg in the lead flies past, chased hard by Featherston Hall, and the other National Ports Authority boat, Ian Mather, in 3rd. This has been a tough battle amongst the first 3 boats, with Lindenberg having to keep his foot hard on the loud pedal to retain his lead. The yellow flag is out as a warning that there are broken down boats in the race line. George Verschier, who is a lap down, is now in between Lindenberg and Featherston Hall. But oh, look at him, he slowed right down, letting Ian Mather through into 2nd position. He must be very disappointed after a strong challenge for the lead on Peter's heels throughout the race. With only 4 laps to go, Tim seems to have lost all power in his engine, and now he just tries to cruise the last few laps to at least get some points. The white flag signifies the final lap for race leader Lindenberg. He meets up with teammate Lucky Hadebe in boat number 10, who's a lap down to complete that last lap. Another magnificent win for Lindenberg, who seems to again have a faultless race, making it 2 in a row and so much closer to that South African Championship title.
I've had a good weekend this weekend, pole first 2 heats, and I mean I really just have to finish the 3rd heat now to win the day, and that's another win for this season. I think it makes it 5 or 6 this season, so I'm going to be hard to beat now. But I said I wanted to win all the way up to PE if possible, so that I had a bit of a gap, you know, with the 3 races to go, and I can just keep it all together now for the last heat. That's the way it's going to end up.
Having to settle for 8th position, Tim Featherston Hall didn't feel happy about his bad luck.
Chasing Peter all the way right in the beginning, and Eddie turned the boat turtle, but was able to keep it right way up. Then coming down into the right-hand sweep, passing Craig Bell with Peter ahead of me, I put it down, and then suddenly it just went dead. It went onto 3 cylinders. Coming back, we found 1 whole banker's dead. We surmised it's a switch box. We're going to change it now and be back for the 3rd heat.
Russell had a problem. How do you feel?
Well, I still have a long way to go. I'm not leading the championship yet. But if all stays together the way it is now, I don't foresee a problem towards the end of the season.
I couldn't keep up with Skulk down the straights, but on the corners I was catching him. A couple of back markers got in our way, and I fell behind, and we're still waiting to see what happened. And then the engine just cut out.
Andre Van Diemen with me at the moment. He's having a terrible weekend. We're going to have a good look at his boat and find out what went wrong. You've lost a pickle. You lost your cowling, and now your canopy's broken. Tell us about it.
That was a very good weekend. No, it's just basically I was trying to dice George, and I went to the corner a bit too hard with the right-hander and stuck the nose in, and Pickle took the mirror off, which basically just destroyed the rest. That was
a newcomer all the way from the Free State, Craig Bell. Tell us how it felt for you for your first experience in Formula 1 powerboat racing.
Very rough, exceptionally rough, but good fun, a lot of fun.
And did you learn anything from the older Formula 1 pilots?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go a hell of a lot faster, that's for sure.
The results of Heat 2 then, with the National Ports Authority boats in 1st, 2nd and 4th, with another impressive performance by Skulk van Tonder, who competes in the lights division but managed a 3rd place overall. The green flag was up again for the start of the 3rd and final 15-lap heat of the day. Lindenberg again at pole position, Mather 2nd and Skulk van Tonder 3rd on the grid. But Lindenberg again gets quickly off the mark and immediately starts to open up a lead early in the 1st lap. The mad scramble past the control tower as the field is still bunched up, but everyone gets through safely. With the weather conditions deteriorating, the drivers have to exercise extreme concentration to read the surface of the water. Following in Lindenberg's wake was teammate Ian Mather, then Featherstone Hoare and George Fisher, with Schalk van Tonder again leading the lights class. Featherstone Hoare, the blue and white Mercoscura boat seems to again have the same problem as in the previous heat. Lucky Hadebe speeds past him. This is not a good day for Tim at all. Race leader Lindenberg increases his lead over Ian Mather in boat number 1, and George Fisher is also doing a lot better than in the second heat where he finished 5th. Peter Lindenberg has by now lapped a large section of the field and goes past Russell Chard, who is in 6th place behind Lucky Hadebe. A disappointed Tim Featherstone Hoare in boat number 3 is now just cruising on the outside, hoping to just finish the race and at least earn some points. As the boats come past race control, you can see Officer of the Day Billy DeWitt indicating some floating danger in the water. An object like that can do some serious damage to a boat doing up to 220 kilometers per hour. As Lindenberg makes his way through the field, he comes across many races within the race, like the ding-dong battle between Russell Chard and Lucky Hadebe for 5th position. Schalk van Tonder just ahead of Hadebe in the number 10, followed by Chard in his number 23 boat. George Fisher kept his 3rd position here behind Craig Bell, who has done very well for a first race, but Fisher had to watch out with Schalk van Tonder breathing down his neck. Out in front, still Lindenberg as he goes past teammate Hadebe, with Ian Mather holding on to his 2nd place. Featherstone Hoare has done well to keep going with his intermittent engine trouble as the white flag comes out for Peter Lindenberg. Only one more lap to make it 3 in a row for the champion. Another magnificent performance for Lindenberg, bringing his total points scored for the day to a perfect 1,200 points. Total domination then by Peter Lindenberg, who has shadowed all competition, making it look almost impossible not to win the championship.
Now I've had a good weekend, pole position, 3 wins, bigger lead in the championship, and I guess now barring disaster, I think we should get home with the championship, which is what I started out aiming for at the beginning of the season. This was a hard day. The water conditions were different in every heat. Yesterday they were pretty rough. The middle heat was a bit better, and this heat was seriously rough. So it was a good race. I think the guys drove well. considering that all 9 boats came home. You know, we obviously only lost Paul because he got hurt in the first heat, and Marius because he broke his boat up, but guys drove well in these conditions.
Peter Lindenberg's 20-point lead now increases to 23 over current champion Ian Mather. In the lights class, Skulk van Tonder is the new leading man, with Andre van Diemen now 1 point behind and Russell Chard in third. But the day belonged to champion Peter Lindenberg, and with a lap of honour, he must be looking forward to the next race, round 8 in East London.
We'll have that round on next week's episode of the show. Don't miss it. But for now, that's it from me, Digby Fox, and the team. Until next week.